What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Since the last time I came live to you, so much has transpired, so much has went on. It's kind of exhausting to be truthful with you. Seeing all the stuff that's going on in the world, especially here in the U.S., protests worldwide, things happening with the killing of George Floyd, and subsequently other folks that had dealings with the police, as well as police officers that were definitely killed, due to the violent protests. Not protests, but protests that became violent and riotings and burning down of police stations and all this stuff going on while we're dealing with Corona, you know, uh, economic strife. It's just crazy right now. I try to put it all into context. I try to come from a place where, you know, of a sound perspective, because I remember I was talking on Facebook to Calvin's Corner 72, and and he seen some things that were going on in Georgia and other states, and he was saying how protesters were attacking one person, and then they didn't realize the person they were attacking had a gun, concealed carry, he shot the people that he was dealing with. And I remember Calvin's Corner saying, we need to come to some kind of common ground real quick. And I was saying to him, it's unfortunate that as far as coming to common ground, we probably have to experience some more loss before we actually get there. What's going on, family? I see you. I see you, James Wilson. Appreciate you for coming by. Sometimes the commonalities don't come until more people wind up at a gravesite, unfortunately, because of all the violence, because of all the negativity, because of all the strife, all the socio-economic, racial injustice that's out there. People trying to figure out which lives matter, which lives, are not being, duly served. Some things are quite clear. Some things are not. Missed you too as well, James Wilson. I had a lot going on. Definitely had a lot going on. I had some personal losses in my family, as folks know. Had some other things going on here in New York. There's a lot going on. There's so much that the media is not telling folks. So much that you really don't see. There's so many, different agendas and different interests. There's so much going on that's not really being portrayed and put out there to the public in a realistic type of way. It's almost kind of like, cherry picked to show this to people and to show that to people. So it's kind of raw. It's kind of crazy out there. Like I said, I'm just trying to put it to context, asking the question, how did we get here? How did we get to this point? How did we get to this moment? In time here in America, across the world, and stuff like that. It's kind of rough. Hold on. What's going on, Redneck Agenda? Redneck Renegade, appreciate you. Nah, I know you can't stay long. Thanks for the thanks for coming through. I appreciate you for being here. It's all good. It's all love. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure it out, just like everybody else. Hopefully everybody is being safe out there. Hopefully you're trying to stay well. Hopefully, you got yourself, quarantined, not quarantined off, but socially distanced. That's a whole other issue in itself. What's going on, 420? I appreciate you for coming through. Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm just trying to stay afloat and survive. It's kind of disheartening to see what's going on with everything that's happening. I wish I had a whole bunch of positive words. I wish I had a whole bunch of things to reflect on and to say. Right now it's just about surviving each day. It's about just trying to be safe out there. It's about, not trying to get caught up, not knowing what's going to happen. There's tension between, the police and the black community and other people of color versus the police and whatnot. So it's a lot going on. Understanding needs to come. That goes without a doubt. And I think we've got here, if I was to try to put this in context, how we got here was there are divisions, there are things that happen in society which we kind of just accept. There are agreements that come about to where you stay over there, you live your life, and you do your thing, and we'll do our thing over here. And sometimes that's not good enough. Sometimes there's certain injustices or there's certain inequities that we allow to happen. There's certain things that are just generally accepted practices, being how we treat each other based on our race or where we come from, or what type of part of society you are, or classism, racism, homophobic, whatever it may be. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I got everything together. I don't want to miss any comments. I'm here with you, brother, being proactive, and I have another session in a few minutes myself. Nah, definitely go do what you got to do, James Wilson. Do what you got to do. I'm not trying to be on here long. I'm just checking in with folks. Like I said, I'm just trying to put it all together. I'm just trying to see what's going on, folks. Let folks know that I'm okay. Like I said, I'm not trying to go over the top. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to say anything groundbreaking or revolutionary. It'd be high wisdom and whatnot. I'm not trying to give anybody any solutions to any things right now. So I get it. People have things to do. I appreciate you for stopping by. I'm just checking in. I'm just seeing what's going on with folks. I'm just hoping that folks are okay. Just hoping that everybody is doing what they need to do, just to be safe out there. I think it's a situation where we have a lot of these problems and these issues because sometimes people don't want to look at things from the other person's point of view. They don't want to see the other person's side. Sometimes we're so focused on how things are going and how it affects us. We don't want to see life through another person's eyes. Me being a black person, yeah, I'm affected by a lot of different things, but in order for me to understand what's going on in the world, sometimes I have to step outside of myself and see it from the perspective of the people that are on the other side, of the people that think differently than me. I have to become familiar with how other folks think, because I think when you don't, and you don't want to, do that, and you're fearful of what other people are about, it causes tension. It causes, a situation to become volatile, to break out and to go places that it shouldn't go. And we do have the ability to connect with each other, to talk to each other, to build with each other in various ways. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's stuff that gets passed down through the generations. Got to pass down through the generations to the point where people are just, going through, the negativities and whatnot. And I applaud the young, I applaud the youth, the people out there that are trying to change. The people that are trying to do this peacefully. I do respect what these youngins is out there trying to do, because we do need to change. Things need to be dealt with differently. We definitely need to look at stuff in a way where we see each other as people. And it's bigger than color. It's about society and how things work. It is about how we treat each other. It is about, understanding that, there should be dignity and there should be something upheld with human life. I think we have a lack of love in society to the point where we find ourselves in these situations to where it's okay for, a Minnesota police officer to put his knee on the neck of a man, of an unarmed black man for 8 minutes and 47 seconds until he has no more life. So it is one of those situations where, you look at it like that. Drunken One, appreciate you. Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm trying. But like I was saying, it is a situation where, it's up to us. The moves that we make, the things that we do, how we transpire, in the future, depends on now. And there are people that have, conflicting points of views. It's okay to be at odds with each other. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to say it's enough. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? I'm just fed up. Maybe we need to change and reform the system. But I think we lose sight of it when we don't hear each other, when we don't listen to what's going on the other side. Sometimes there's just differences and fears and things that happens that are just misunderstandings, things that we haven't actually gone through. Definitely big love and support to you, James Wilson. I appreciate you. It's all good. Thank you for the condolences. I appreciate that, man. But like I was saying, I'm just on here speaking right now just to say, I see so much going on in the world. I see so much happening, and I see where it's so easy to fix a lot of these things. It's so easy to fix a lot of these problems. To really sit down with each other, or to really come to some kind of common ground with each other, and see each other as human beings before we see each other as anything. Unfortunately, though, there's some people, no matter how much you try, no matter what you do, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to push towards, a better, positive, peaceful solution. It's a situation where people, they profit and they thrive off of division. And we try to fight against that. We try to push against that. You try to speak out against that. You try to say, hey, that's just not the way forward. Nobody wins, when everybody is feuding, when there's violence in the streets, when there's businesses being looted, when there's people being killed on either side, be it cops, be it, unarmed, black folks or other people of color or even poor white folks. Nobody benefits from any of this. Sometimes it just can't be said enough. And some people, they'll do anything by any means to get change. I'm not the one that's an anarchist. I'm not, in that vein, in that mindset. But I do know that the change needs to happen, and I don't have all the answers. But I know the answers don't come in being negative towards each other, especially online. There's a lot of people that are arguing, that are fighting, people that have lost friendships, family members not speaking to each other anymore. All kind of things that are happening because people have different points of view, different sides of the issues. As long as you're okay, family, okay, that's real. Appreciate you, James Bush, and that's what it is. Um, yeah, so like I said, that's just where I'm looking at with it, because I think we got to this point to where we are, and we'll face issues in the future if we don't begin to see each other, if we don't begin to love each other, if we don't begin to see each other for who we are. We all bleed the same blood, we all breathe the same air, we all eat the same types of foods in many different respects, maybe with different seasons and stuff like that. But the point is that this is the only planet we got, this is the only earth we're on. Like I said, hopefully the words resonate. I don't have all the answers. Like I said, I don't know where we're gonna go from here. But I know this is not the way. This is not the mode of operation that we should be going as human beings. Because regardless of how you feel about any side of the issue, with police brutality, with defunding the police, with racial inequality, with anything, there's a way, there's a civil discourse to have. Because once we have a breaking down of the civil discourse, then all that's left is violence. All that's left is tearing down of the country. All that's left is tearing down of society. And I think, at least for now, we're better than that. I think for now we at least have a leg to stand on. I at least think there's time. I at least think there's a space to be civil, to disagree with each other, but still see each other as human beings. I don't agree with everything that people say. I don't agree with everything that's online. I don't agree with everything that people do. I know there are folks out there that may, look different than me, and they disagree with me, or they may not care for my politics or my point of view. But it doesn't mean I have to hate them. It doesn't mean I have to wish ill will on them. And I wish the same, them for me. So it is a thing where I hope and I pray that we can get back, or get to, seeing each other as human beings, looking at each other in civil tones, speaking to each other with love, understanding the respect, that a human life should have, looking at each other and saying we all have, families, people have kids, people have grandparents, they have wives, husbands, they have communities, folks have lives that they want to live, as far as, the type of way that they want to be, and it's about trying to understand each other. And I think there's a lack of understanding, unfortunately, in this world, in this planet, for people that are different, that look different, that think different, that act different, that are different. And it doesn't have to be that way. But in each and every one of us, we have to individually choose, or should individually choose, who you want to be from each day. And it's totally up to you. I know we can get there. I know it can happen. But it takes time. It takes work. It takes a concern. And when we don't have a concern for people that are different than us, and we look and we judge, and we ridicule them, and we mock them, then we lead to the situations like we have now, to where, cities are being burned, and riots are happening, and the peaceful protests are being overshadowed, and, things are being done in half measures, and laws are being passed, but then you wonder, will the law actually benefit anybody? So, those are things that come about. But I believe that it is a way forward. Like I said, not to dance in circles, but I believe it starts with love. I believe it starts with understanding. I believe it starts with caring about who the other person is on the other side that is different from you. Be it they come from a different race, or a different ideology, a different religion, sexuality, whatever that may be. And when you go from there, it's not hard to understand, how we can move forward as a humanity, as a society. Because that's what it is. I think we're in these spaces where we have these problems now that are existing in society because we haven't dealt with them honestly. We haven't looked at the other side of what's going on honestly and said, hey, you know what, that person is different from me, but let me try to understand who that person is, regardless of what they believe, regardless of what they think, regardless of their politics. Like, I don't hate people because they're Trump supporters. I don't hate people because they're Jewish or they have a different religion. I'm not against gay people because they're gay. I don't hate people that are different from me because they think differently than me. I look at them and I say they think different than me, but they're still equal to me as a human being. They still breathe. They still have the right to be seen as a human being, and dignity and the respect of human life should be there. But once that breaks down, then there's just death and destruction and violence, and nobody learns. Nobody wins. And I think on that note, I'll probably end it there, you know. But I do agree. We got to come to some kind of common ground. But until next time, folks, be safe. Take care of yourself. God bless.